Hey, DNA Strand Crew, TJ here from the Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be bringing you a last-minute pre-NFL draft buys. Should be a great episode. Join us, won't you?
Welcome to the Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcast, where we talk Dynasty Fantasy Football, fantasy rankings, and everything NFL. Join us and dominate your Dynasty league. It's in your DNA. And here's your host, TJ Blake.
Welcome back, DNA Strand Crew. Yes, I'm the host of the Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcast, TJ Blake. You can find me on Twitter at TJBlakeDNA. And as always, we're joined by our show architect and co-host, the A-Train Andy Blake. You can find him on Twitter at A-TrainDNA. How you doing today, Ann?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. And next in the line of order, we got the producer and co-host, Ty Blake. You can find him on Twitter at DynastyDNA. Ty, how you doing today, Ty?
Pretty good. How you doing?
We're doing good. And last but not least, we have the guy that always gets Ty to buy what he's selling.
He always has cheat sheets.
It's Muscles Ryan Mail. You can find him on Twitter at DynastyDNA. Mus, how you doing today, Mus?
Not too bad. What's happening?
Oh, we're doing good, brother. We're doing good. Today we're going to be doing an episode of last-minute buys pre-NFL draft. Going to go over some guys that we feel that we really like that maybe you could pick up for a decent price before the draft starts. You know, everyone always gets scared when the draft comes around. You know, maybe they value players different. And if you can maybe get yourself in on some of these guys earlier, maybe you can get yourself a little bit of a discount. So
definitely,
that's what we're looking to do with this episode. Some guys we looked at, some people that we could that we think could fit that billing. So a couple things to mention as always, though, before we start into anything. The Bijan Robinson signed mini helmet sweepstake, guys. We're getting closer. Every week we're getting closer to the NFL draft. I mean, we're going to be giving this helmet away the first round of the NFL draft. Going to try to do a live show. I think we're going to be good to go on that. We'll keep you guys posted. But we're going to be giving it away that night. And, hey, you got a good chance to win this thing, and we're getting real close. We're almost down to D-Day here. And there's a couple ways you can still enter. If you want to go over to Twitter, follow us on Twitter at DynastyDNA_. You could be, and retweet a pic of the helmet pick. You could be entered once. And if you go over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, screenshot it in the comments or screenshot it, send it over on Twitter that you subscribe, you could be entered twice. And like I said, we're only a couple weeks away. I can't wait to give this thing away. It's going to be a lot of fun to see who wins it. And, yeah, I mean, you still got a chance. I mean, I think we're right around 70, 80 people in this thing. So it's really gone quiet. So, I mean, it got a lot of big love right out of the gate.
Yeah.
It's gone a little bit quiet now that we're getting closer to the draft. So you still got a fair shot of joining. So you might have a good chance to win it. So you never know. Another thing to mention, big news for us. We want to announce our partnership. We're teaming up with Peak One Sports Network. These guys are awesome. We're really excited to be joining them. They're going to be having us do our podcast for them on fantasy football. So we're teaming up with them. If you guys are ever looking for any kind of sports outlets, they cover everything. I mean, they got it all under baseball, football, hockey, golf. You name it, it's over there. They try to cover all that. And they have other podcasts too, you know, like some sports betting ones, different things like that, guys. Go over there and support them. We're happy to be with them. They're a great teaming up with great guys. Ashton over there, he's a great dude. And we're just happy to be on board with them. I'm really looking forward to joining them. And, you know, they're kind of like us. They're just easygoing, fun guys that it's a family thing, kind of like what we do.
Right.
You know, and that's great. And I really like their setup. They got a lot of nice stuff over there.
Yeah, they do. I took a quick glimpse, and it looks great. So
it does.
Really excited for this. Thanks for reaching out, guys. And
thank you.
It's gonna be fun. So
yeah, definitely. Really happy to be working together. Really looking forward to all that. Like I said, guys, Peak One Sports Network. They're the best. All things sports, you go over there, you won't be disappointed.
Not at all.
But before we jump into anything here, you know we're going over to the breaking news with Mus.
All right. I actually didn't know this, but I learned that John Elway is no longer part of the Broncos.
Really?
Stepped away.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, he did a good job for him.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's crazy.
Tyreek Hill says he's walking away from the league after 2025.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you guys really believe that?
I don't know. I feel like I do, but at the same time, they flash a bunch of cash.
Exactly.
In his face.
Right. Exactly.
But even at that, 2025 is going to be, what, 31?
Yeah.
31. So,
Yeah,
I
something
mean,
like
that's...
So, I mean, are you
Getting up
using
there.
this news to buy?
I'm always a buyer. Depends.
Yeah,
you know?
people might panic. So I
I
don't
think
know.
maybe like the closer it gets to that, it would be, you know, if you
Yeah.
can wait a little bit longer.
I don't think I'm ever really buying a aging receipt. You know what I mean?
Right,
At 30, you know.
He's getting close to that cliff.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he does retire, good for him. I mean, your health is what's important.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, and he's pretty much done her all. So
Yeah.
Odell signs with the Ravens, 1 year, $15 million guaranteed, up to $18 million.
That's unbelievable to me. I mean,
No, like, is this good for Lamar or is there no more money for Lamar?
well, Lamar's supposedly happy about it, but it's like, you want this money? How could you be happy?
Yeah, I saw they were FaceTiming.
yeah.
And, I don't know.
It's a weird situation, and honestly, you know, I will give Odell and his agent credit because I never thought he.
No.
I thought maybe 10 at the most, maybe 10.
I think Lamar ought to reach out to his agent and see what the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or maybe Lamar represented him.
probably not.
That might have been one last little fuck you before he leaves, too. Like, here, take this 32-year-old, or I don't know how old he is, but
Yeah.
2 knee, you know.
Oh, that's just it, man. The knee injuries.
Yeah, he really hasn't been relevant for like how many years?
He did look good with the Rams. He did look good.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, he
and
did.
it was super sad to see him grabbing at his knee during the
Yeah.
Super Bowl because right there it like flashed in his eyes like, hey, this isn't good.
Right. 6 teams have inquired about trading for the Cardinals' number 3 pick.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's that quarterback spot, man. That's a
Yep.
hot commodity. Now, I don't know if you have this on your news or not, but did you hear Houston might be passing on a quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear some. They did it before.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Will Anderson's a fine prospect. I mean, if that's who they're after,
Yeah,
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
They could be right back in this boat next year.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
could be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes.
Right.
Yeah.
Or do they just try to trade it like who wants to trade up above, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if Arizona doesn't take a quarterback. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I bet you, though, if Houston passes that number 3 spot, Arizona, if I'm Arizona, I'm happy if Houston passes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because there'll be a lot of teams wanting to come up and jump like Indy and all these other guys. So that would be good for the Cardinals if that
Yeah,
happens.
you get a boatload.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got the news that Barkley does not plan to sign the franchise tag before the offseason, so he won't participate in any off-season stuff.
Not good news.
Jacobs, Lamar, and Evan Ingram haven't signed theirs yet either, but, I mean, they haven't come out and said that they don't plan on it, but Barkley came out and said that he doesn't plan on it. So.
In the mess that they have in Vegas,
Yeah, Josh Jacobs.
I wouldn't look for Josh Jacobs to sign it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility that Saquon's moved during the draft?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because if he's not going to sign it and they're not going to sign him, why wouldn't you just trade him and try to get somebody in there?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, man, it's a terrible situation with running backs. It's another year, it's a different player.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this running back market's really going to change here soon.
Bad.
I mean, you see Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry on the block.
Yeah.
Aaron
Aaron Jones took a step back.
Eckler.
Alvin Kamara facing legal troubles, and
Yeah.
he wasn't as efficient last year.
I mean, we talked about this way back, but it's like when we made our list of top 12 running backs, it's like this list is going to look
yeah.
hell of a lot different.
Yep.
And
next year.
that's what we talked about too. And that's like this is draft. Like nobody's safe. Like if you think you have a true bell cow type of guy, nobody's safe. I mean, look how many teams are supposedly interested in Bijan.
Yeah.
I mean that could all be smoke. We don't know, but I mean if that's true, I mean that just goes to show you: is there really a true bell cow type of guy anymore?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah. So, I mean, going off the franchise tag news, Tony Pollard did sign his franchise tag. So, I mean,
He didn't have quite as much leverage though with that leg injury.
Yeah. Didn't he break his ankle?
something like that.
Yeah. So
something
right
like
there, he
ankle.
was kind of.
Yeah, with that injury, he didn't have as much leverage as like Saquon does.
Yeah. Dalton Kincaid cleared to play without restrictions.
There we go.
There you
So,
go.
I mean,
Needed
that's
that.
good for Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
His stock went up.
Yeah.
Olivar, I think, was he everybody's tight end one here?
He was mine. I don't think.
I
Must
think I'd
Mayor.
Mayor,
Yeah,
but
you
just
had-
because
I
he's
had
safe.
Kincaid.
But
Yeah.
did you guys see who was that corner? Jeff Okudah got traded yesterday. That was crazy.
Yeah, the
Fifth round
Falcons.
pick.
Yeah,
Fourth?
fifth round pick.
Fifth round pick. Devin White for Buccaneers requested a trade today. I mean,
heard that,
these
too.
are defensive players. I mean,
Still though. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's a good move for Atlanta.
Yeah, it is.
Giving
real
up a
good
fifth
move.
for.
yeah.
I mean, Okuda was what the number
Number
three
three.
overall pick in
Yep.
2019.
2020, 2019, somewhere.
Something
Yeah,
like
right
that.
around there.
And you know, the thing is, man, we talked about this earlier too. I'll give credit to Dan Campbell too. Like, I know all we got back's a fifth, but it's like, hey, man, he cut bait.
Yeah,
You know?
he's just done. They didn't plan. I'd say that they didn't plan on signing him.
Yeah.
So get whatever you can get. Strong cornerback class this year. I mean, it's going to be deep.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the 5th round, but maybe you can use that to trade. You know, maybe trade up in the 3rd round or something to get a good corner.
We all know Dan loves his defense too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard there's reports coming out that they're definitely going corner in the first.
yeah,
That's what I'm hearing after trading Akuta. So
Yeah, they have their eyes on somebody.
yeah.
So that's all I got.
All right, Muss, we appreciate you going over that as always. I mean, we all know there's going to be slower news days, but there was some bigger stuff coming out. I mean,
Yeah.
the Odell signing
Yeah.
and the Tyreek Hill news and a lot of things that could really shake things up, but always appreciate you going over that. We're going to hop into these player buys, these pre-NFL draft buys. We're going to hop into that right now. And of course, we're going to start over here with the A train and your first pre-NFL draft buy. Who do you have?
I got Jamison Williams out of Detroit. Someone I really liked in college. I think we all really like Jamison Williams. It's safe to say. And honestly, if he didn't have that ACL tear, I think he probably would have been my number 1 receiver. So, I mean, right there with Garrett Wilson and Drake London. I mean, what a class. You know?
Oh, it was. It was
what
a good
class that was. He has a high draft capital, even with the ACL tear. Drafted 12th overall, and the Lions did trade up for this guy. I remember seeing TikTok videos and stuff. Like, they couldn't believe that he was there. Like, we're getting him.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So, obviously, it's somebody they're really excited about and having the draft capital. I definitely think he's a safe guy. I know they have Amon-Ra, who I think is also a good buy. I mean, we've seen multiple wide receiver ones play for teams, and especially a guy like Jameson in an ascending offense.
Yep.
They believe in Jared Goff. We've seen Jared Goff play good. So another thing is, whenever they did trade up for him, they traded pick 32 and 34 and 66. I mean, that's quite a bit.
That's a lot of capital.
Yeah, to trade up to 12 and 46. That's what they did with Minnesota. Imagine J-Mo in Minnesota, though, with Justin Jefferson if they would have.
We could have made that happen. Yeah.
I wish I would have looked more into it to see who they did draft with those picks. But, yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy. With DJ Chark gone, that leaves 52 targets in 11 games. TJ Hawkinson also gone. That's 43 targets in 8 games. So that's a combined 95 targets without a full year of play. Yeah. They didn't replace these guys yet. So, I mean, really the replacement for DJ Chark would be Jamison Williams.
Yeah, it's like the ideal replacement, really.
Yeah, it really is. Other guys they have there, I just don't think are real. I mean, Khalif Raymond, Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds.
They're just guys.
They're just guys. And, I mean, right now at the tight ends, Brock Wright. So, I mean, unless they draft a Kincaid, I think there's going to be a lot of targets to go around.
Yeah.
And I think Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra will both take advantage of this
Yeah, and really, I think that's people worry about Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra is going to get his.
He's a good possession receiver.
He is, man, and Williamson's the big play threat.
Yeah. So he's shown some flashes and really small, limited opportunities. I know the famous one, the 66-yard touchdown. I think it was against Green Bay. It was brought back because of a penalty. So we got to see a little bit of what he can actually do. At the beginning of the year, in our mock draft we did, he was drafted to 601, wide receiver 21. I don't think that's horrible, wide receiver 21, but I definitely can see him being, a top 12, like maybe 15 guy.
Right. Yep.
Like, I definitely think he has the upside of that. I would easily take him over every wide receiver in this draft not named JSN.
I agree with that.
JSN is close for me. I don't know. I think it's just seeing, maybe it's more the unpredictability of what JSN can be.
Right.
But I don't think they're far off.
No.
I really don't.
No, I agree with you, and that's why I was going to ask you. I was going to say, would you take him over a lot of these guys? And I would.
Yeah, I easily would. My last week, I forgot to say this. Last week in my best ball that I was in, I got him at wide receiver 36.
Wow.
In a best ball tournament.
That's crazy.
Really good.
Yeah. Wide receiver dude, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I wanted to take my other guy, but I couldn't because Jamison Williams was there.
Right.
So I ended up taking him. And some of the trades I'm seeing, Cam Akers and Rondale Moore for Jamison Williams. Easily Jamison Williams, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet, Jordan Love, and a third is a super flex for Jamison Williams. Easily
Yeah.
Jamison Williams for me. A 24 first for Jamison Williams, unless it's a 1-1 and a super flex.
Yeah, give me Jameson
Give
Williams.
me Jamison
Yeah.
Williams. Or Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, that's going to be, let's slow the brakes. But, I mean, it's too early to tell if you're a 1-1, 1-2.
Yeah.
Right.
So easily give me J-Mo for that. So what do you guys think about J-Mo?
I love it. I think that's a great player. He's being really kind of just like under the radar.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, and the thing is, too, and you know this, and we all know this, a lot of these ACL injuries, too. We've seen a limited amount of gameplay with him last year because of the injury. But the thing is, too, the first year back's always the hardest. You know, I mean, and now he had a whole nother offseason to heal up, train. I mean, so I really like it. I mean, I think it's about as sneaky could get. And if I'm one of these teams, if I'm sitting there 1-6, 1-7, somewhere in that range, I would honestly trade that first-round pick for Jamison Williams if I needed a receiver.
Yeah.
I would do it. That would be no problem to me. I mean, would you guys give up a first for him if you needed a receiver?
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and I think he's in the perfect spot too. That offense it's really nice to be able to like put stuff into that offense because it's just so explosive. That offense, they put up points.
Oh, they do.
So
They do.
I think that's a safe spot for him. I mean, I think that's just going to keep garnering more and more.
And we always sit here and talk, we want a piece of this Lions offense.
Right.
And I love Almond Raw. Like I said, I want them both.
Right.
I want them both,
Right.
man.
Almond Raw is probably the more expensive piece right now.
Oh yeah.
And how crazy would this be if they did cash in their chips and brought in Lamar?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love Jared Goff, if they did bring in Lamar, that probably helps them just as much.
Yeah.
Or if they did draft a quarterback, like I just feel like he's bulletproof. He's going to be good with Jared Goff, or he could be good with Lamar. It don't really matter to me.
And to me, the thing is, man, like, and I like the setup the way they have it because I think they're like perfect opposites.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about, Almond Raw is more that possession guy. He's willing to move the chains, do the dirty work. And J-Mo's the big play guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's going to be a spot for that. And I'm like you, this Lions offense is on the ascent.
Yep.
I'd love to get pieces in that team if I could. Heck, I mean, last year they're one game away from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see like how much value like guys from the Chiefs get and the Bills.
Right.
I mean, you just get them lead offenses and their values go way up.
Yeah.
And that's just it. And we could be talking. I mean, look what Garrett Wilson did last year. What would you have to pay to get Garrett Wilson last year?
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
know?
the thing.
That's the thing. I mean, if you could pick him up for a first right now in a weak wide receiver class,
Yeah.
this would be almost the perfect time to strike.
I think I would try to strike now if I could, but if you're on the clock, I mean, there's somebody there. You see this all the time.
Yeah.
And that
That's the
pick's
time
there.
to
I
trade
just throw me Jameson. You know?
Yep, that pick's never more valuable than it is whenever you're sitting there.
And don't be afraid to throw a third in or something. Say, I'll
Yeah.
give you my third too. I mean,
Yeah, you're getting a talented player, you
Yeah.
know, and like you said, easily could have been maybe the best receiver in that class last year.
a lot of good receivers in this class too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, last year's
Yeah.
class in
Yeah.
his class.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So, I mean, you could make an argument for that.
It just baffles me. It completely baffles me. The dude tore his ACL and they still traded up and got him. I mean, that shows you how much they believe in him.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of teams wanted him. You know,
Yeah,
and
I do too.
And I think they knew that. And like I said, you know, and it's really important, guys, and you got to remember this with ACL injuries. I've seen it so many times. A player looks horrible the year after an ACL,
Yeah.
or they're limited. Don't let that concern you because once they're back on track, you know, they could be right back going full steam again. And this is a guy, like I said, if I needed a receiver, I would trade one of them first to get him.
And I think what makes me feel better is we even seen flashes last year.
Oh, yeah.
He came back faster.
That's it.
And we still seen like Jamison Williams from Alabama.
Yep. And he's just easily forgotten
Yeah.
because of the injury. You
Yep.
know, so that's someone that I really like. I think that's a great one. So I would really be watching Jamison Williams, see where he's going to be going.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I mean, first round pick for a young receiver and a good offense. You can't ask for anything better than that.
No.
We're going to go over here to me now. My first buy. It's going to be one of my favorites, man. A guy I liked in the film process last year a whole lot. It's going to be Tyler Algier, running back, Atlanta Falcons. This guy, man, you know, he didn't come in and play right away. I can't remember if he was dealing with an injury or not, but I know he didn't play early in the season. But, boy, when he started getting on the field, he really took off for the Falcons. I mean, he was a true, just running it between the tackles, tough running type of guy. Ended up being a 1,000-yard rusher last year.
Yeah, very quietly.
Very quietly, and he come in late. Like I said, he didn't really play much the first couple weeks. So being a 1,000-yard rusher your rookie year, not getting a lot of opportunities right away, that's really impressive. And he's the all-time leading Falcons rookie rush runner.
Oh, wow.
Of all time.
Wow.
So, like, out of all the rookie running backs the Falcons have ever had, he has the highest yard total out of all of them. So that tells me a lot of things right there. You look towards the end of the season, I mean, the amount of carries go up. I know they got Cordell Patterson. They got a couple other nobodies.
Yeah.
But the amount of carries went up, man. I mean, against New Orleans on December 18th, he had 17 carries. Against the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas Eve on December 24th, he had 18 carries. Against the Arizona Cardinals, New Year's Day, he had 20 carries. And to top it off, against Tampa Bay on January 8th, 24 carries. So he's getting more and more carries as we go. That just shows me that they really liked him. They're really starting to put the ball more in his hands and took it out of Cordell Patterson's hands. And I know Atlanta could easily draft a running back. I mean, I think that's what everybody's fear is. But believe it or not, I was looking. Atlanta on their top visits only had 2 running backs visit.
Okay.
Wow.
They had Tajay Spears and they had Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean,
later.
Yeah, and the thing is, they could easily take one. I get that,
Yeah.
but I just think that in today's NFL, we just talked about this, there isn't a lot of true bell cow type of guys. He's the kind of guy to me that could just play solid for you in a running back 2 position for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's that kind of guy.
And I look at Atlanta. They upgraded their offensive line, which is a good thing, but they need a lot of defense,
right,
man.
right.
They need a lot of defense. To me, in my opinion, a running back is a luxury pick.
Yep. 100%.
And they already went luxury picks on Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
And,
in my
and,
opinion.
and Drake London.
And Drake London.
Yeah.
So, and they did bring in Okuda, but Okuda's far from proving himself.
Yeah.
You got him for a 5th-round pick, so, I mean, they could use a corner. They need to get to the quarterback more. I mean,
They need guys up front. And the thing is, man, they were lucky enough to draft Algier in the 5th round.
Yeah.
And he's panned out for them. Now, I'm not saying, like I said, hey, they bring in Tajay Spears. Yeah, it could be a little scary, but at the same time, they're 2 different backs.
Yeah, one's big and one's a little bit smaller. And
Keaton Mitchell's kind of the same thing. So that's what's telling me.
Keaton
like,
Mitchell don't worry me at all.
No, but like his play style.
You're right.
Like that's what I'm looking at. Like I'm just like from what I can tell, and you try to get this intel on these teams. What I can tell is if they're bringing in a running back, they're looking at maybe a pass catching type of guy.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of thunder lightning to switch it up with
Right.
Algier. But I'm telling you, man, I've seen a couple trades where he was had for a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
It's a good gamble.
It is. To me, I would take that gamble 9 times out of 10. 1,000-yard rookie rusher, all-time Falcons rookie rusher.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the guy.
And this is a great one because Jamison Williams, obviously, they're not going to draft a wide receiver.
Yeah.
The only one that would scare me is JSN, and they're not drafting JSN.
Yep.
So that's kind of more safe. This is one that's a little more risky, but I love the gamble.
Yeah.
Absolutely love the gamble for it because if you can get him for that late and you're getting a starting guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't offer much in the pass game, but he's a big dude that can bulldoze you over and get in the end zone.
Yeah, and he plays for Arthur Smith, who loves to run the football.
Exactly.
It's a perfect fit.
With a quarterback that was a rookie last year that they're going to want to run the football
Right.
and not put games in his hands.
Right.
So, yeah, that's a real good one, man. I mean, I like it. You kind of stepped on the ledge there and you kind of put somebody out there that a lot of people were wanting to sell that I think could easily be a good, sneaky buy.
And the way I thought about it was everyone gushes over Damian Pierce. Well, what is Damian Pierce? He's basically Tyler Algier, in my opinion. They're the same type of player, late-round pick, could easily be replaced, but you know what? Them guys are reliable.
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000-yard rusher for Tyler Algier in Atlanta. I mean, how could you just easily just snap your fingers and replace that? You can't.
Right.
You can bring in a complimentary piece.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I just really like the gamble of a 2nd-rounder. I'm willing to take that if I'm a contender especially, or if I'm middle of the road and need another running back. I think that, you could get someone that can really help you. And like I said, man, I'm really impressed with his game. I mean, I really went back and looked. Early in the season, he didn't do too much. But, boy, right in the middle part, he really come on strong.
It takes a little bit. Yeah, them last 4 games, man, 2 games he had 130-plus yards.
Yeah.
And scored in 2 of them.
And going back to Damian Pierce, it just reminds me a lot of Damian Pierce. You can hand it to him 20, 30 times. And
Yeah.
you might not offer a lot in pass catching, but as a running back, too, if you could get somebody that could get you 15 to 20 points, here and there, that's a
Yeah,
big, that's
definitely.
a big help. So I really like Algier. What do you think, Mus? Do you like Algier?
Yeah, I like Algier. I was on the boat. They'd probably draft somebody, but I mean, you're kind of right. Like, who are they going to draft? Like, they're not going to draft anybody with the
It
first
worried
one.
me at first too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But the more you think about it, and then if they only brought in them two guys, I'm not really
Right.
scared of.
That's what I did the research on because I thought, okay, well, if they bring in 9 running backs, maybe that will,
Right.
get me to come off Algier a little bit more. But the fact that they only brought in 2.
Yeah.
And, I love Tajay. And, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think he's going to be a day 2 guy.
Yeah, me too.
But, Keaton Mitchell's it just seems like they're looking for a pass catcher. That seems to be to me.
I mean, his yards per carry too. I mean,
Almost 5 yards on average.
yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, just someone that puts up that kind of stats being valued that low.
And he only had 3 touchdowns, but touchdowns are so hard to predict. I can
Right.
see that number going up.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I'm predicting it more around double that.
And the thing is, too, and the kicker is Atlanta had trouble moving the ball last year.
Yeah.
Can they move it a little better this year? Let's hope.
Right. And maybe that's why he only had 3. That is a good point.
Yeah, and my thing is, I think they could move it better this
I
year.
do too.
Have a good
Whole
draft.
division's weaker.
And I think like forecasting, if they would bring in Lamar, I think Algier's stock just skyrocket.
Oh, yeah, because he's not a big-time pass catcher.
Exactly.
So if they do try to run the ball and they can get option plays and everything else.
They could play that bully Baltimore system like they
Yeah.
did with Lamar.
Yeah, exactly.
And even Ritter can run. He's pretty mobile. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be exciting to see Algier if you could have him for a second or as Adam as a throw-in piece.
Yeah.
I would love to have someone like
Yeah,
that.
and maybe they do draft somebody that people were worried about, and then we'll see. We'll see who it is, because if it's someone we don't like somebody we don't really care for,
Macintosh or something like that.
something like that, we're like, hey, guys, don't freak out about it. Maybe you can get him for a third.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's it. I mean, hey,
Macintosh, that's perfect. That's perfect.
I knew you'd like that.
Yep.
he stays in Georgia.
Yep. I could see that. That would actually work out for them, too. Good pass catcher. Not
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
strong
they're-
between the tackles.
I think that's what they're looking for, man.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be scared off Algier, guys. If you get him as a throw-in or for a second or something like that, get him, because I think that would be a good running back, too, to have.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I wasn't on, but you sold me. Yeah.
All right, I like that. See, I sold Moss. That makes me feel better about it. All right, we're going to head over here to Ty. Ty, your first pre-NFL draft buy, who do you have?
Yeah, I have Rashad Bateman, and there's so much talent there, but he just hasn't blossomed yet, and I can see why people could be frustrated because he definitely had high draft capital when you drafted him, and he's only produced in 2 years 61 catches for 800 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he's had his injury problems, but I think if you really want this guy, now's the time to strike. He's never had any help whatsoever. Now they bring in Odell. I know it's not prime Odell, but it's something. It's definitely something a lot better than what they've had. And really, I think some people might value him a little lower because of the Lamar contract dispute. I think if Tyler Huntley has to start this year, it's going to hurt him a little bit, but it hurts Mark Andrews a heck of a lot more than it hurts Rashad Bateman. So I don't really see that being as big of a problem, but, to me, I think Lamar's going to come back and play. Well, at least I hope so. And then on top of that, the biggest thing that sold me, the new offensive coordinator. It was a Georgia offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, and he's renowned for running an air raid offense. So I think they're going to start running the ball or throwing the ball a little bit more. And I think their receiver is going to be a little more fantasy relevant. And if you can get him for, I think what we were seeing right around like a second-round pick.
Yeah.
I traded Juju for him, but that was during the season.
Yeah.
And I would rather have
Steal.
Bateman. Yeah.
Absolute steal.
I would rather have Bateman.
And there's a lot of teams out there that could use receivers, like fantasy teams. And that's just it. Like we talked, this isn't the strongest wide receiver class.
No.
There's
So,
no
I mean,
alphas.
No, there isn't.
Other than JSN.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really isn't. So, if you can get your hands on a Bateman or someone like a Jameson Williams, and, you can do a lot of damage. That's the kind of player that you need.
And it really wasn't a potential thing for Bateman. He's just been hurt.
Yeah, he can't stay on the field.
His rookie year, 12 games. In 2022, 6 games. And he had the toe injury or something, or
Yeah.
Liz Frank.
Yeah,
Liz
Liz Frank. Yep.
So, if he can stay healthy, if Lamar's there, I think he's okay. If somebody else is there, I still like him. I still think he's okay.
Yeah.
So
Imagine like a CJ Stroud, like them.
yeah, if they did move that and then they got Stroud, I mean,
They could draft a quarterback. That's not out of the question yet.
like you said, bringing him on, I think that's great. It's an air raid offense, so they're gonna. It's gonna be weird seeing them if they're an air raid offense. Being a Steelers fan, somebody that pounds the ball all the time to throwing the ball. We kind of seen it with the Steelers too. I mean, we were used to Bettis going between the tackles. Then they ended up, Ben's throwing the ball 50, 60 times. Like, damn, this is weird.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be weird to see Baltimore trying to throw it all over the lot. But I'll tell you, man, I mean, Bateman is a sneaky guy. I really like him. I mean, like I said, he could just be a cheap receiver you could get. And what'd you say? Did you trade Juju straight up for him, man?
Yeah, that's what I
I mean, I would do that 9 times out of 10.
You got Bateman?
Yeah, I got Bateman for Juju. But what was going on is he was competing, and I obviously was rebuilding.
And he was still on the Chiefs.
Yeah, he was on the Chiefs.
Now he's on the Patriots, so.
That's kind of...
That was still a good move at the time.
Yeah, I just, felt like that was... I'm just a Bateman believer, honestly.
Yeah, I mean...
Always have been.
I liked him coming out.
Yeah, me too. I think... TJ had him. You had him ranked real high, which he wasn't far off for me. I think I had him as my wide receiver 3 that year.
And it seems like when he's on the field, he does play well. But it's just like you said, staying healthy. But the thing is, man, I do like the fact though. I mean, Odell is what he is, but that does give him a little bit of help on the outside. I mean, that way, it gives him take a little heat off of him.
Oh yeah,
So I do like that too. I mean, hey, and I think it's a good value player. Oh, that's my thing. Hey, if you could get Bateman for a second, a young receiver, plug him in there, it might work out for you.
And who knows? He still might see more targets than Odell.
Definitely could.
I think see that.
I think
he knows the offense.
But I think a lot of people are expecting Odell to come in and be the target leader behind Andrews.
Yeah, I don't.
But I think it could easily be Andrews, Bateman, Odell.
Yep.
I agree with that 110%. I really like the Bateman buy, Ty. That was a good one. We're going to cruise on over here to Muss. Muss, who's your first pre-NFL draft buy?
This is a guy I've always been high on, and unfortunately he's not panned out at all yet, but it's going to be Kyle Pitts. He's currently tight end 2 at age 22, so he's still young. See, I'm looking for that positional advantage, and tight end's a place that if you have one of the top tight ends, you have an advantage over everybody in the league. So if he can pan out, I mean, you're golden for what, 8 years?
Yeah,
at least. Now the team did sign Jonnu Smith, which I think is more of a smokescreen than anything, because I don't think Jonnu Smith's going to take any targets.
No, he didn't from Hunter Henry.
No, exactly. So like, if you can use that news to maybe drive the price down, that's perfect. And I was doing some research on this, and I actually came across Mike Schuba's article when I was, looking for stats and looking for what other people were thinking. And Mike Kashuba, he writes for us, he had a great article. He said the Falcons only threw the ball 414 times this year. Tom Brady himself threw the ball 733 times.
Wow.
Okay, so if the Falcons were average, they would throw 10 more passes a game. Now, when Kyle Pitts was healthy and everything like that, Kyle Pitts commanded 28% of the passes. And he averaged 12.7 yards a catch, so that would add 3 more targets. If he caught 2 of them, that would put him up to 12 points per game with no touchdowns. That's with no touchdowns. And if he averaged that 12 points per game, he'd have been tight end 3 last year.
Wow.
So, I mean, the potential's there.
Right.
And here is some more stats. 27.3 target share. That's second among tight ends. 13.1 average yards per target. That's first among any tight ends. 772 air yards. That's first among tight ends. 2.07 yards per route ran. That's fifth in tight ends. Now here's where the Falcons rank. 22.8 passes per game. That's 31st. 154 passing yards per game. That's 31st. 31 red zone passes. That's 28th. Kyle Pitts, 17.2 routes per game. That's 26th among tight ends.
Yep.
So you can see where the problem is.
Yep. And that's where I was worried about,
Yeah, so I mean,
with the Falcons.
Yeah, it's more the Falcons than it is Kyle Pitts. And I mean, I'm not saying that the Falcons are going to turn this over overnight and Kyle Pitts is going to be Kyle Pitts. But, I mean, they're going to bring in a new quarterback maybe. Or if they do roll with Ritter, I think Ritter was a little better than Mariota.
Yeah.
Because I was watching some highlights last year, and Mariota was missing a wide-open Kyle Pitts a lot.
Yeah, and he's 6'6". How do you...
Yeah.
How do you miss that?
A couple trades I saw go down for Pitts. DeAndre Swift for Pitts straight up.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Damian Pierce for Pitts straight up.
Wow.
Pitts for the 106 and the 206.
Wow.
Pitts and Osborne for the 204 and Treylon Burks.
Pitts and Osborne. Oh, yeah, Pitts.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a discount out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this today. If you were a complete rebuilder and you were the 101 sitting there in a Superflex league and you were the 101, it wasn't that you traded for it and lucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you take Kyle Pitts over Bijan? I think team-wise, I think it would make sense, but I don't think I could do it.
I don't think I could either because here's my thing. I don't trust the Falcons, but why I agree with your buy is I believe that the talent will outweigh the situation.
Right.
Usually it does. Not always, but usually it does.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a talent thing completely last year. He was hurt and went through all that bullshit.
Yeah.
But the thing is the ceiling is so far up, and the expectations are by the ceiling.
Yeah.
And we're getting mediocre.
Exactly.
So everybody thinks he sucks, and he really doesn't suck. Well, not everybody, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's out there that he could be a bust, but I think the expectations are so high.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading those stats with just Pitts,
Yeah.
and I mean, he's there. It's just the
Yeah.
Falcons thing.
It's definitely the situation thing, but we all got to remember, too, this is year 3. Tight ends do take a little bit of time,
yeah.
and he could always get dealt.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would be ideal.
Yeah, I mean,
or if they brought in Lamar.
yeah, if they did bring in Lamar, I mean, he loves to target the tight end.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I think they're on the right track. Let's see what happens this year, and I'm in on buying them. I mean, I'm just going to bet on the talent.
Yeah, I mean, for those
prices, that's easy.
Yeah.
I don't think I could take him over Bijan.
No. Like I said, I think as far as team-wise, I think it makes sense for a team because it's like you could get 8 years out of Kyle Pitts, where you're going to get how many years out of Bijan.
Right,
but
right.
I don't think I could personally do it, but
No.
I mean, in a one quarterback, I would take Bijan over him. Depending on where Gibbs would go, I'd probably take Gibbs and JSN maybe over him. But
Yeah.
anything after that.
Yeah, after that. Yeah, I can
104.
see that. And it's got to be tight end premium to
Yeah,
me.
it's got to be tight end premium.
And I seen a thing on Twitter, and I can't even remember like exactly who posted it or how long ago it was. It just sticks in my mind, and I don't know how true it is, but I seen like it was like a poll or something someone took. It's like 60 to 65% of the Dynasty community already say Pitts is a bust.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like if you could get in on them cheap enough,
Yeah.
you know,
dude, we caught so much backlash saying don't draft him in a startup first.
yeah.
But this is exactly what scared me, and I can't give shit because he was injured. That's
Right.
not his fault. But I was worried about Atlanta, still am. But this is why sometimes you do this, because now he's a buy. It's so funny how it's like a stock market,
Right.
Yeah.
up and down.
Well, I do get your point. Like you are right when you say like his expectations were so high.
Yeah, because-
and he was drafted at those expectations.
Yeah.
But it's like he's not getting drafted at realistic.
That's
No.
just it. And
He's
then-
not getting drafted in the middle. He's getting drafted.
And
Right.
I think
Yeah.
what's
Right.
spurned him in the Dynasty community so much was like in his first year, like when people were trading for him, they were giving up piles.
Justin Jefferson,
Oh,
yeah. Shit like that. And I'm like, there's just no way, in my opinion.
And we both said it, like, and I've said this for a long time with Kyle Pitts, and this is truly what I believe. I compare it to the Vernon Davis situation.
yeah.
yeah.
Vernon Davis was a freak athlete, too. He was picked inside the top 10 by the San Francisco 49ers back in the day, and this was back before the 49ers got good again.
Right.
I mean, heck, they picked first and picked Alex Smith that one year. So they weren't good at all, and they picked Vernon Davis, and he had a hell of a time in San Francisco, but when he got out of there, he looked good in a few different spots.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Kyle Pitts, I'm like you, getting a trade would be the ideal situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, it's year 3.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, he might not even want to re-sign there.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
you give it a couple years. I mean,
Yeah.
It could be worth it.
he's a good investment because if he does leave, he's 22. He'll be, what, 25? I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen guys break out at 25.
Yep.
All the
Tight
time.
end takes a little bit of time.
It's a tough position, but we'll see what Atlanta does. I
Yeah.
mean, hey, I will say this. I mean, they're trying to improve their roster some. I mean, if they can get this thing right in the draft a little bit, and I will say this too, just one last point. If indeed, like we talked earlier, if Houston passes on a quarterback, will the Falcons then, they act like they don't want to take one now, but will they
trade up?
That's just it.
Yeah.
Do you guguys think that you could give him for a little bit more of a discount because it's such a deep tight end class this year? Like maybe.
Yeah, this is a possibility. Yeah, it's a really good tight end class. So, I mean,
maybe you could do something like that.
Maybe you could give up Kincaid and then something else and get him.
Yeah.
Right.
As much as I love Kincaid, I mean, I'd still rather lean Pitts. But
Right.
I do really like Kincaid.
Right.
And the thing is, now that Kincaid's cleared, I mean, people are going to be more hyping him up.
Yeah.
So that's big news.
Yeah, I like it, Muss. I mean, I'm in, for his current prices.
If I'm going high on a buy like that, I think that's a good one because that could be a difference maker.
Yeah. And I like how you mentioned your, the positional advantage. I mean,
that's what I think drives them apart is like
look what Travis Kelce does.
exactly
Week after week, he kills you.
Yeah,
And he wins Super Bowls for you.
Yeah, so if you could have Travis Kelce at age even 23 or 24 and have him for 8 years,
Right.
For sure. I like it, Muss. We're going to go over back here to the A train. We got your pre-NFL draft by number 2. Who is it?
It's a guy that we've been hyping up ever since we started. It's Rachaad White. And I absolutely, I know, I messaged TJ before I did. I was like, hey, is it cool if I do Rachaad White? He gave me the green light, so.
That's it.
But yeah, we absolutely all love this tape. And a lot of people were saying he wouldn't be drafted in the first 3 rounds, and he did. He snuck in there in the 3rd round, I believe, like pick 93 or something.
Yeah, yep.
So, I mean, he's definitely a guy that it was just nice to see him drafted high. The tape paid off. He had a real good Senior Bowl. But anyways, we'll get into he's a hard worker, in my opinion. He played the transfer game just to get an opportunity. Started at Nebraska Kearney. Hopefully I'm not botching that name. Then he transferred to Mount San Antonio. Sorry, alumni. I don't know that place either.
Alumni.
Then he finally transferred to Arizona State, so he had to play that game. So, yeah, he's a little bit older, 24 years old. But I'm not really concerned for the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, I'm always trying to move running backs in a couple years anyways.
Yeah.
So, and then a guy that really hasn't been between the tackles a ton. I mean, excels in the pass game. They cut Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette had 83 targets last year.
Yeah, I can't believe that stat.
Yeah,
When you
83 targets.
that's crazy.
White still had 58 last year. And I know Tom Brady's gone, but even if he gets half of Fournette's targets, you're talking about 100 targets for this running back.
Yep.
And I that's what he excels at. He's great in the pass game. A little bit, inconsistent between the tackles at times last year, but their offensive line was they were in shambles. I mean,
A lot of injuries.
we always talked about this with Tom Brady. Now, we never really mentioned it for Fournette and White. So I think you're going to see an upgrade, with their offensive line. Definitely think they're going O-line in the first round. I'd be really surprised if they didn't. They also did bring in Chase Edmonds. I'm not real concerned.
No.
I was really pumped up for him going to Miami, and he in the opportunity, just didn't work out. So kind of shows you he's always been that dynasty darling,
Yep.
Chase Edmonds. So not real concerned there. I could see him honestly hitting that 225, 250 carry mark this year. And I think that would be good for him.
And the fact that they let Lenny go. I mean, that's the thing.
That says a lot right there, I think.
Because there's no guarantees they get the guy they want in the draft.
No. They need so much help, I feel like, with the line, the defense. I think they will bring in a running back with like a 4th-round guy.
Yeah.
I mean...
And especially with Devin White now requesting a trade.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge part of their defense.
Yeah, I mean, that really is. So it's kind of weird he requested a trade like that, too.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's something to keep in
And
mind.
Mike Evans is getting a little bit older. So, I mean,
Yeah.
they could even be thinking, wide receiver, now middle linebacker. So, and that's what I think. I mean, 4th rounder later, I'm sure they'll bring in somebody, but not really anybody, hugely of significance. In our way too early draft, he was drafted at 507, running back 17. I don't think that's a horrible spot.
No.
I don't know.
I think right around at 17 is pretty solid. I could still see higher if he gets 100 targets. I mean, he could be a top 12 guy. I mean, that's really, pushing it. But my last week best ball, man, 901, running back 29.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
That's crazy. That's way too low.
That's great value. for
Yeah.
Rashad
Especially,
White.
And
especially
I was-
in a best ball when you don't have to.
And I was going to take him, but Jameson Williams was there, so I was like, oh, hopefully I get him on the way back. But
I'm going to say something that you said last year about DeAndre Swift, which I think if he would have stayed healthy, he had the ability to do, which I think Rashad White has the ability to do. Can we see 1,000 and 1,000?
yeah, I know, man.
I think he can do it.
I think he could too. I really do. So, I mean, for running back 29, it's not even a running back 2 for more than likely a week 1 starter. Some of these trades I'm seeing are they're disrespectful. Rashad White for a mid-third. I mean, that sounds like collusion to me. Rashad White for a 24 second, a 24 fourth.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've seen a lot of seconds. I mean, we did see a first, and I'm not opposed to throwing out a late first for him.
Right.
Oh, I wouldn't be either.
I've been trying to trade J.K. Dobbins for him
Okay.
and trying to get extra back,
That'd be a great move.
but people really aren't biting.
I really tout Rashad White, man. If I needed a running back and I couldn't get my hands on Gibbs or Bijan or one of them type guys, I'd be just as easily okay trading 110 to 112 to get him.
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel really good about it as a contender because I'm like you. He's going to offer that high receiving ceiling.
Right. And like I said, I know Tom Brady isn't there, and he's kind of the check down king, but even Baker, I mean, he checks down.
Oh, yeah.
He'll check down. He's not afraid to. So he survived free agency, and I think he's going to survive the draft too. So that's where I'm putting my chips is on Rashad White. And I get him now before it's too late.
Yep.
Get him now. If you can get him for a second or 2 seconds, do it before you have to go up first.
Yeah, especially with all the Bijan, like all the mock drafts and Bijan going there, because I don't.
I just don't see it
I don't
happening,
either.
man. I really don't. I mean,
They need way too many
yeah, they
other
need
pieces.
and that's how we talked about like with Algier. Like when you need so many things, why? I mean, NFL teams do it time after time,
Yeah.
but I just don't see it.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, this is the kind of thing to me, like, you buy Rashad White for a second. You buy Tyler Algier for a second or, like, third or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if they come out and they do what they're capable of doing and, they're going to be going way up in ADP, next year you could trade them for a first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And to bring in somebody just like Chase Edmonds, that just tells me, like, and then cut Fournette, I think they're really believing in him.
Yeah, I do too, because why would you let Lenny go? And I really like what Musk made the point about Devin White being possibly being traded. He wants out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got so many glaring holes, so many needs in that team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I'm like you. That's such a luxury pick to take a running back. I could see, like we talked about Tyler Algier, I could see like 4th to 6th round.
Yeah.
But how much are they going to affect Rashad White?
Right.
How much are they going to affect Tyler Algier? You're going to have to be a damn fine football player to come in there and overtake them that fast.
And it could happen, but I'm just betting on White from what I've seen.
Me too. Loved the tape. Loved him last year. I thought he looked great his rookie season. I mean, coming in. I mean, he played the backup role behind Lenny, but, I'll tell you, man, there were some games where he got more playing time, and he looked good.
Yeah, that really became a 50-50 split towards the end of the season. You really got to see a little bit of Rashad White that, like I said, was inefficient at times, but when the line's so bad,
And Tom Brady touted Rashad White.
Yeah, he did.
That's
he did.
another
and for probably the best football player to ever put 2 feet on this earth to say that.
That's a good compliment.
Yeah.
The guy's a hard worker. We've seen it, like you said at the beginning, how he come up from the bottom the whole way to the top of the ladder.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him, man.
Me too. Hey, I'm buying. I'm on board.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I liked it, Ian.
How do you guys feel? Do you guys? Are you guys
Oh, I love it. If you can get that guy for what the prices you were saying, that's steal.
And would you guys still go up late first for him?
I would. If I needed a running back bad, I would.
Yeah.
Do you think Moss?
Yeah, I'd have to see where some of these landing spots I think go for these. Like,
Yeah, 'cause they never
Devon
work.
A-Chain,
Right.
and all them. Like,
And
I think,
Capital. Like we like
Exactly.
A-Chain, but if he's like a 4th round pick.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
If he gets like a Miami Dolphins landing spot or something like that, I think I'd choose him over White. But yeah, like I said,
Right.
it's all dependent.
And White catches enough balls where you can put him in a flex spot too.
Yeah.
So
He gives you a lot of flexibility. That's a good point, Ty.
Yeah.
And that's just how I'm looking at it. Like, to me, he proved a lot to me last year. If I needed a running back and I'm giving up like a 1st-round type capital, at least he's young. He showed promise.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. I'm willing to take that gamble. Like I said, probably anywhere from 1.9 to 1.12.
Yep.
I would be willing to give up for him if I needed a back. We're going to come over here to me. It's going to be my second pre-NFL draft buy, and it's going to be Michael Pittman Jr., Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I know that the Colts last year were a train wreck. I mean, everything's bad there, but this is the way I look at this situation with Michael Pittman. They're going to be bringing in a quarterback for sure. We know Indianapolis is going quarterback. I mean, some of these teams, there was always question marks. There isn't with Indy. They've tried this veteran thing where they bring these guys in. It hasn't panned out. The Carson Wentz experiment, the Matt Ryan experiment. But I'll tell you, man, Michael Pittman with Carson Wentz didn't look half bad. And I'll tell you, last year, 99 receptions for Michael Pittman, 10th in the league. And, you know, that's a quiet 10th in the league.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
On a bad offense.
141 targets.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
On a bad offense. And, you know, there are people out there really frustrated with them. But, man, I'm like going back to what Andy said earlier about Pitts. I think talent can outweigh situations sometimes. And I'm banking on Michael Pittman here. The Colts could bring someone in these later rounds, but, I mean, they don't really have anyone else outside of Jonathan Taylor who's a true weapon. So that high target share, he's going to see it again. And if one of these quarterbacks do come in and they're a good fit for Indianapolis, and I like the addition of their new head coach.
Steichen.
Steichen. Yeah, I slipped my mind. I like Steichen a lot. That's a really nice addition for them, like an offensive mind. They need that. But I'm banking on the fact, man, like, I like trying to take a gamble. They're bringing in a young quarterback. If this works out for Michael Pittman, man, 99 catches last year, 10th in the league, I mean, he could really, really go up even more. So here's the thing, going back to what Andy said earlier. If I needed a receiver, I'm willing to give up a late to mid-first for Michael Pittman. No problem.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to gamble that. I don't care. I think he's at least a viable enough flex player for you. But he's the kind of player that, like I just said, if this young quarterback pans out, if this new offensive system pans out, he could go way up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you could really make really good capital on him, capital gain. That's what I call it.
And I'm not the biggest Alec Pierce fan either. I just wasn't him coming out. And now they got rid of Paris Campbell. I mean, that's going to free up some more.
There's nobody there. And, I mean, like I said, they could bring someone in these later rounds, but, I mean, how much is that going to affect him? He's going to be the true target hog of this offense.
I think what we're all wondering is where Hopkins is going to go. I just got an alert he's visiting the Jets. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, he must have been on the Aaron Rodgers wish list.
Yeah, he must not have got Odell, so he said, we'll just take Hopkins. So we'll see what happens about that.
What are they doing?
How many receivers do they have?
Exactly. What are they going to run? 7 wide
Hey,
receivers?
hey, Aaron can never have enough.
Yeah.
He's bringing his friends in.
But yeah, man, I totally agree. I mean, I was really surprised with Paris Campbell gone. They bring in McKenzie, who I don't think's as good as Paris Campbell.
Really, you look at like where Pittman's downfall was last year. The catches were there. The yards weren't half bad, but 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That was the problem. But we go back to Indianapolis. They were a mess, too. They couldn't move the ball. Their offensive line was banged up. That quarterback situation was atrocious.
Yeah.
They tried the Matt Ryan thing. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Taylor got banged up towards the end of the season. I mean, it just wasn't a good year in Indy. But, I mean, you look at them catches, and he was almost about at 1,000 yards last year. You get a good young quarterback in there. If everything hits the way it could possibly hit, I think, like, I look at Michael Pittman, man, and I've said this, he reminds me a lot of Mike Evans.
Yeah.
I could see him putting up Mike Evans numbers consistently if they can get this offense right. But if I needed a receiver in a weak receiver class, I'm trading a first for Michael Pittman. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think people worry about ceiling too much. And I think right where he's finishing, 17, 20, 15, if the touchdowns are there, maybe he gets 12.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Yeah.
Dude, that's great.
You can't find a Justin Jefferson and a Jamar Chase all the time.
No, and you can't pay the premiums for them kind of guys.
Yeah, he's a
you can get a
wide
20
receiver 2, wide receiver 3.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And that's the thing. If you can put him in your flex and he's putting up wide receiver 2 numbers and he's 25 years old, I love it. I absolutely love it. And he's doing it with shit quarterbacks.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's just it, man. Almost 100 catches last year.
Yeah.
And he had a horrible situation.
Yep.
I mean, so it can only get better. I mean, one of these young guys coming in, could it be any worse than Matt Ryan last year?
And that's the thing. I love his floor, though, too. It can get better, but it really, like...
It can't get any worse.
Yeah, he's not going to do worse if he has them kind of quarterbacks throwing him the ball.
Basically, what you're seeing is low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3.
And I love JSN, but after that, it just gets so shaky. I like Addison, but we'll see.
Yeah.
He's small. I would easily take him.
Not everybody can be Devonta Smith.
No.
I think a lot of these guys were hoping they're Devonta Smith.
And we got to remember Smith won a Heisman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they don't even play the same.
He won the Heisman, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah. I was
he
gonna
was
say.
one of the few receivers that did. But the thing is, man, you watch Devonta play. He plays big for his size.
Yeah, he does. He does. He has the long arms.
He does. He goes up and nabs balls, and that's just not Addison's game. Addison's the kind of guy you can just move him all over the place.
Yeah.
But he's not going to out-fight anybody for the ball.
And that's what I love about Pittman, man. He's just a dog. Like,
It just reminds me so much of Mike Evans. And
Yeah.
you know, this is kind of eerily similar to Mike Evans. I mean, there for a while, he didn't have the best quarterback play in Tampa Bay either.
no.
So if they can get it right, we could see him take the step.
We always talk about T. Higgins being moved. We talk about guys like that. Could Pittman? It's coming up on his contract. Now, I don't think it would be wise of the Colts to do that, but if they weren't going to sign him and say, hey, we're doing a rebuild, what if he ended up going to the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Or something like that. You know what I mean? Could he be a sneaky draft day guy that, holy shit, they just dealt Michael Pittman?
Yeah.
When you said the Chiefs, the table just went boing, boing, boing.
I thought I felt the table jump up.
But honestly, in all honesty, I'm like you guys. I just see this and like if I'm risking a first round type of capital, I'm seeing someone like you said, the floor can't get any worse, but can the ceiling get better? Sure, it can get better.
Yeah, it could.
So why not take the chance? This is a weak wide receiver class. I'll say it again. There's nobody here that after JSN, as Andy said many times, that I just fall in love with. I mean, so hey, Michael Pittman's a proven commodity. I'll take them 100 catches on my team.
Yep.
So I think that's a good one. We're going to cruise over here to Ty. Ty, who's your second pre-NFL draft buy?
Yeah, I think this is probably got to be my favorite buy this offseason by far. It's David Montgomery. People are a little scared he's going to the Lions, and I just don't see how, because you've seen what Jamal Williams did last year in that role behind Swift. Well, pretty much in front of Swift. 17 rushing touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. I mean, it's incredible. And then on top of that, even if he has kind of a off year, like if they do decide to run Swift, his contract's up. I don't know if it really wouldn't make much sense at all to re-sign him. So then it's Montgomery's backfield. We just talked about it before. We really like investing in that offense because it's just such a up-and-coming offense. We've seen it last year. They put up a lot of points. And on top of that, they're run heavy. They got Dan Campbell at the helm of the ship. He loves to run the football.
Captain Dan.
Right. I just think the sky's the limit for Montgomery. He could be one of the top fantasy backs for years to come in that offense. And he can catch the football, too. He can't go any worse. I mean, he ran really well at Chicago, and Chicago's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you got Justin Fields running down your throat. So, and on top of that, we were just looking. He's fetching 1 second-round pick in a lot of these trades recently we've seen.
That's
that
unbelievable.
is highway robbery.
Yeah, it
is.
is.
And a lot of people are afraid of the Detroit landing spot, but like you made a lot of good points for like welcoming it. Like how much worse could it get than Chicago? You know, that was a horrible situation, but Montgomery most of the times was such a reliable commodity for you in fantasy. Like, I mean, yeah, he had some disappointing moments, but he was a pretty solid running back too for a long time. And here's the point. This is the kicker. This is the one thing that people got to understand. I mean, DeAndre Swift, I love the talent. It just hasn't worked out in Detroit. The injuries, this and that. Who did they pay? They paid David Montgomery.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's tied to the Lions right now.
Yeah, 3 years, $18 million. I mean, that's a big contract for a running back.
Yeah, it is.
$11 million guaranteed. That's what I wanted to see if he was guaranteed $11 million.
Yeah. So that's no chump change for a running back. I mean, that's a nice little contract for him. And, the thing is, man, I like I said, he's been productive all the time. I mean, yeah, he gets banged up a little bit, but, I mean, for a second-round pick, I mean, that's a no-brainer with that kind of quality. What do you think of Monty Muss?
Oh, I like Montgomery. I've always been a Montgomery fan. I think he, does an adequate amount with the chances he gets.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it is.
And, I mean, when given the full opportunity, he's always came through. So, I mean, he's always a guy that I've always kind of probably drafted,
Because you can always seem to get him late in drafts.
Yeah, I always kind of, he's the guy that I've always, put a star beside his name and tried to draft and everything like that. So I've always liked Montgomery, and the landing spot at first, like me and Andy were talking, at first I was like, oh man, what the hell are the Lions doing? But then the more and more I thought about it, like a couple days later, I'm like, I actually kind of, I love this landing spot.
The great offensive line, ascending offense.
Yeah. I was against it at first, the Lions, and then a couple of days later when it all sank in, I loved it.
Yeah. I don't think he'll ever, and here's the thing, everybody always shoots for upside, and it goes back to Pittman.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever be like a top 5 back.
No.
But hey, man, if he's a running back too, and if he gets the touchdowns that Jamal Williams
could sneak in a running back one.
Exactly. Jamal Williams had, 17 touchdowns?
Yeah. And then over 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could.
I mean, there's a scenario.
You can't predict touchdowns.
Yeah, Swift's always hurt.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when's Swift ever on the field?
Right. No.
But it's eerie because, like, Jamal and Montgomery are such similar players.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, like, I see more upside with Montgomery.
Oh, I do too.
It was like they knew what they were getting. Like, they
Right.
figured we'll not pay him, would rather get Montgomery. And like I said, that matters. I mean, DeAndre Swift, I think it almost takes for him to get out of Detroit, try to get a fresh start maybe somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm not totally out on Swift yet.
Oh, no.
But the thing is, man, it just sucks for him in that situation. It just hasn't worked out with the injuries, but I go back to it. They paid Montgomery. So to me, to gamble a second-round pick,
Yeah.
I mean, that's no-brainer.
Yep.
No problem at all. I like that one, Ty. That was a really good value buy.
Yeah.
We're going to cruise over here to Muss. Muss is going to be the last one finishing out. Your last pre-NFL draft buy here, Muss. Who do you have?
Well.
Yep, Ty's smirking at this one. I don't know. I've always been kind of a hater on this guy, but I'm going to do Najee Harris.
Wow. Najee Harris.
Yep, age 25. Finished as running back 14 last year. And that's considering his Liz Frank injury, oblique, and he had a hip injury. And running behind that horrendous O-line.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's horrendous with a capital H.
Yeah. So, I mean, they did upgrade the O-line in the offseason, so, I mean, that's a plus there. I looked. Weeks 1 through 13, he only finished in the top 24 in running backs 4 times out of 13 weeks. In week 13 through 17, he didn't finish below running back 18. So, I mean, I think as the injuries kind of healed themselves and everything, I think he, definitely did a lot better. Last 8 games last year, he averaged 15.9 points per game. So, I mean, that's what you ask for there out of a running back. He's definitely the bell cow in Pittsburgh. I mean, I like Jaylen Warren. We all like Jaylen Warren, but like as far as snap share and everything, I mean, he's definitely going to way out snap him. And as far as bell cows, Steelers have to be, or Najee has to be up there as far as actual bell cows. And when I was thinking about it, like this isn't the Ben Roethlisberger led Steelers. You're not going to have Ben Roethlisberger throwing 6 touchdowns, and
Right.
I like Kenny Pickett. I think we all like Kenny Pickett, but Kenny Pickett isn't going to throw for 500 yards.
No.
So, I mean, the offense it's going to run through Najee.
Right.
And it should.
And it should.
Yep.
And I mean, there towards the end of the year, Pickett did take a step forward, and I think if he continues to take a step forward, I think that's only going to help Najee.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, you're going to have more red zone opportunities. You're going to have, not so many guys in the box, and stuff like that. And I was actually reading today, I was, like I said, I Google these guys and try to, get more tidbits and everything. CBS Sports actually had an article yesterday that they predict that Najee will be the best running back in the NFL next year.
I could see it.
They really beefed up the O-line.
Yeah, and right now is running back ADP on Sleeper is running back 11.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I go to real quickly. This is fresh on my mind, Moss.
Yeah.
Me and Andy did a couple best ball tournaments. We got him at
fourth round, like the mid to end fourth round.
Yeah, like 410.
Startup, that's crazy.
Yeah,
in my
that's
opinion.
crazy. I mean, last year he was, a round 1 pick pretty much?
Oh, yeah, slam dunk, high
Yeah.
pick. And the thing is, man, like the injury I do think played a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Early in the season, and that line was horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
they could not do nothing, but they got better as the season went on. But now they beefed up the line even more. If he comes into camp healthy,
Yep.
I mean, and then the receiving, man, later in the season, his receiving game picked up too.
Oh, yeah.
You could almost see that he was healthier because like that game-winning touchdown against Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a beauty.
That was a beauty.
And I'll tell you, like, I like that. Like, seeing him as the best running back in the league next year, I can see it because you got some guys that are getting a little older.
Yep.
You got Saquon that could hold out. I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? He could be out.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we got Kamara with the legal trouble. I mean, there's all kinds of guys that are just flip-flopping. Eckler's upset with the Chargers.
Yeah.
So he could be the guy next year.
He could be.
I got him at 4.7. He was running back 12.
Yeah.
So I I see easily top 5. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
He's been inefficient, but the line's so shitty.
Yeah.
He's still getting the yards on the opportunities, but if the line can get better, then that's less of a chance for him to get hurt. He don't have to run so many times. He gets more yards, more touchdown opportunities.
Yeah.
And if Kenny Pickett takes the step,
And he was
Exactly.
looking good towards the end of the year. I mean,
He was.
I'm not being, a homer here, but Kenny Pickett looked a lot better towards the end of the season.
He
yeah,
did.
yeah. Watching their games every week like we do, you could just see the progression get better and
Yeah.
better. And I mean, really, the only thing that worries me with us is Matt Canada.
Yeah.
And that guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all in all, if we get that line beefed up like we have, we maybe add a little bit more in the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be a really nice buy. What would you pay for him, Mus?
Yes, I mean, I'd probably take Bijan over him, but
That's it.
That's it.
yeah.
For
I
me,
think
at
that's
least.
it.
For me.
Yeah. Yeah. If
Yep.
Gibbs goes to the Chiefs,
Still take.
that would be tough for me.
That would be tough.
Yeah.
That would be tough.
That'd be tough, but I would still take Najee.
I think Najee is a lot safer.
that's
Right,
the reason
right.
why.
Yeah.
And he is 25 years old, but you're looking to move these guys by their age, like 27, 28 season.
I guess I should say, if you are the team with the 1-2, I think you got to go Gibbs there because, I mean, Najee, what's he got? Maybe 3 years left?
Yeah, but if Gibbs easily flames out,
yeah.
I was gonna say
That's
you
what's
could even
scary.
get Najee this year and flip him if he has a
That's
fantastic
true.
year,
Yeah.
then flip him the next year.
or draft Gibbs and try to trade him for Najee plus.
Right.
You know,
Because Steelers' schedule this year is pretty.
Is it?
I mean, it's pretty good for us. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that tough. Last year it was really tough.
I mean,
Yep.
his last
It was
eight,
a tough-
last 8 games, averaging 16 points a game. I mean, that's all you can ask for as far
Yeah.
as running back. You plug him in, running back 1.
right?
Yeah, and I think it's only up and that's what, going back to kind of like what we said about Pittman. We know the floor. Can we have a little bit better ceiling? And I think you can.
Yeah.
I think you definitely can.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
That's-
let me ask this, Mus. Non-super flex, you would consider trading a 1-2 for him?
yeah.
How about
Yeah, I would.
how about super flex? 1-5?
Probably.
Is that the sweet spot?
Yeah, I would definitely do 1-5. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know if I could do one of them quarterbacks up.
I think I'd take Bijan. I'd take Stroud.
Young.
See, I don't.
That's
I don't-
where it gets
yeah,
shaky,
exactly.
man. But then you're talking JSN. It's like
Yeah.
that gets a little shaky.
So you could make an argument for a super
Oh,
flex
yeah.
even from 1-3 to
I
1-5.
would, yeah, I would,
yeah.
1-5, I would probably smash. Except 1-4.
It starts getting tougher.
Yeah, it gets a
starts
little
getting
shaky.
tougher. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was as
Because,
anxious to see what
because
you thought.
even no matter how you feel about the picks, you got to remember the market too.
Right.
Like there's guys like we all really like Jaden Reed. It seems like.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to hit reality here. You can't take Jaden Reed number 5 overall in a Superflex draft.
Who says you can't?
I mean, you can, but
16 points a game. I'm looking right now. Nick Chubb was running back 6 last year with 16 points a game. So even if he does average what he averaged last 8, which, like I said, he upgraded line and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
that's running back 6.
Yep.
Improve quarterback play.
Yeah.
Should be better.
because we do rely on him reception some too.
Yeah.
He was seeing a shit ton with Ben because Ben's arm was a noodle.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett still checked it down to him.
Yeah.
He did.
Hey,
He
it's
did.
it's a security blanket coming out of the backfield, and you got a guy that's that reliable with that good of hands.
Yeah.
I mean, he possesses speed, power, everything. If he's healthy, that line's upgraded, good quarterback play. I could easily see him being one of the top guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if
Me
you
too.
can get him for a good price, I like that, Moss.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for the pre-NFL draft buys, man. That was a lot of fun. Try to get some of these guys out there before the draft
Yeah.
begins. Again, guys, these guys could be a little bit of a gamble, but that's what fantasy football is all about. And honestly, man, these guys, in our opinion, are gambles I'd be willing to take.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you can easily improve your roster. And like Muss said, if you want to try to make a trade for some of these guys, sometimes it's best to wait the day of your draft when you're on the clock. That pick's never more valuable.
Right.
So
right.
keep that in mind. And next week, I think we're going to do pre-NFL draft sells.
Okay.
So that'll be next week. And then also, I think we're going to be doing another round of Jeopardy on NFL steals next week.
Yeah.
Extra show. You guys will be getting 2 shows next week.
That's right.
A lot of fun, 2 for the price of 1 yet again.
No cheat sheets, Moss.
Okay.
Ty has been really dogging Muss.
yeah, he's just upset.
I don't see people on Jeopardy cheat sheets beside him.
I didn't know. I thought we were just
It's like
going
cheating
over
on a test.
all right. No cheat sheet.
So you guys put in the comments, whose team you on? Team Ty or Team Muss?
Yeah.
Me and Andy are the moderators.
Yeah, that's right.
So speaking of all this best ball, and we had that league question last year. Do we want to do a DNA league?
I think we're going
We
to.
were talking about it.
I think we're going to.
Okay.
We'll keep everybody posted. I know Mike Kashuba said he'd play.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And also Candid Fantasy Football, Aiden Grover.
Okay.
He was really all about it. He wants in. So you guys might get we might get like 6 to 5 people to join into
for
into
the
a league.
fans. Yeah,
Yeah. So any listeners that want to join in, send us a message and we'll try to get
that's
that
what I was
rolling.
thinking. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That would be fun, man. We could all play and see where it ends up. I mean, of course I'd win, but
Yeah, I'd come in second.
I don't remember
I'm
you
the
ever winning a
co-host.
fantasy league.
I always come second.
You know what, Moss?
What?
I don't ever remember him winning a fantasy league.
well, I've been close.
I had a good year last year. I think I got money in like 7 or 8 leagues
Yeah,
or
you
something.
did.
I had a really good
You
year.
did have a good year.
Yeah, I've been in so many Super Bowls I can't.
Hey, I'm
count.
fine with second from a financial
I do.
standpoint.
Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he really is Buffalo over here.
Oh yeah, suck
Buffalo.
my ass.
I'm definitely New England. But I don't cheat.
Yeah. But a couple things to mention here before we hop off, guys. Again, the Bijan Robinson signed mini helmet sweepstakes getting closer. Couple weeks away. If you want to join in, have a chance to win this beautiful signed mini helmet. First way to win it's go over to Twitter, follow on Dynasty DNA _ and retweet the pick of the helmet pick, and you could be entered once. You go over to YouTube and subscribe, you could be entered twice, and why not? It's getting closer. You have a great chance to win. It's a lot of fun. Get in this contest with us. Going to give it give it away live on the first round of the NFL draft.
Yep.
Going to do a live show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune into that episode, the draft party. We'll keep you posted as we go along here. Also, again, next week, pre-NFL draft sales, and we're going to be doing a round of Jeopardy of all-time NFL draft steals. So you're getting 2 episodes next week, guys. Tune in for those. It'll be a ton of fun. Also got to bring up again, guys, teaming up with Peak One Sports Network. We're thrilled. We love it. These guys are awesome. We love their content over there. If you're a sports buff, if you like football, if you like hockey, if you like golf, don't matter what it is, you like MMA, go over there. They cover all that stuff. They got a lot of guys over there too. Like I said, other shows where they do like sports betting and different things like that you can listen to if any of that piques your interest. Check that out. These guys are awesome. If you want to follow them on Twitter, follow them over at Peak One Sports on Twitter and check them out. You won't be disappointed, man. Ashton's a good dude. And like I said, man, we're really excited about teaming up with these guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
they're really, really intelligent when it comes to sports, and they got a lot of good stuff over there. They're really professional, and we're just happy to be with them.
Of course they're intelligent. They found us.
That's right.
That is true.
That's it. That's
right.
it, man. And I'll tell you, like I said, we're just like looking at their site. It's so professional.
Yeah, it is. It's a really nice setup. I do like it.
Yeah, they do such a nice job over there, and it just pleases us that that they come to us and wanted to join in with us,
Yep.
and we could team up, and that's awesome that we're working together. So check them out over there. You won't be disappointed.
Not at all.
And of course, I'm going to say it as always. Follow us on Twitter, DynastyDNA _ Check us out on Spotify, Apple Pod, Stitcher, Amazon, Google. We're on all the big podcasting platforms, guys. The support has been immense. I mean, we talk about this all the time. 7-8 months into this show, I never thought we'd be where we're at.
Oh, no.
So the DNA Strand Crew, you guys are for real. We appreciate the heck out of you. And we're going to keep bringing you content. We're going to keep having fun with this stuff. And if you ever have a question or anything, be free, shoot it over. We're happy to answer anything and try to help any way we can. And it's always fun interacting with people.
Yep. No question's a dumb question.
That's it, man.
That's right.
That's it, because there's important stuff out there. But
That's right.
anything you need, you send it over. We'll be happy to do it. Check us out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Dynasty DNA.
See you guys.
Have a good week.